Hey Vinyl community, it's Robert Fithen. This is a follow-up video. I had questions and you gave me answers. What a beautiful world. I had some questions that I'd always been wanting or wondering about, some longer than others, but you came through in the comments, so let's get to it. Question one was all about this album. Now supposedly, according to Wikipedia, it's been also released in the US with this cover. It was only in Kmart stores though, and it even has a picture on Wikipedia. I've never seen that. I've never seen it for years. I'd always wondered, does that really exist? And most people said no, they have never seen this either, does not exist. And William Desienski said that this is actually, this is the cover of the Korean pressing for this. There's a Korean version, and he thought that maybe somebody might have been doing an article or something and misspelled Korean, so it auto-corrected to Kmart, maybe, and then somebody saw that and put it on Wikipedia, who knows, but either way, this is the only cover that's been released in the US. A US version of Queen News of the World with this cover does not exist, as I suspected. Question two was a two-part question about 45s. The first part was, oh, I'm not wearing the shirt now. The first part was about the spindles, the little spindles that used to be in 45s. I never could figure out, even as a little kid, why those kind of existed. Why would you put one of each of those in a 45 instead of just using one adapter on the turntable? All kinds of opinions on that. Some people said that you couldn't stack the 45s on the adapters. All the ones I remember you could. Maybe there were ones that you couldn't. Plastic Soundwave Cult said people would just lose the adapters. Dean says that people would go to each other's houses and maybe they wouldn't have an adapter, so they'd put those on their 45s, bring them with them. PGH45 RPMs had a great little insight to the background of 45s in general and said something that really makes sense. It's all about RCA. And what they did in the 40s with the major hole in the middle, that was so you could only play those on their players, their Victrola players. And so it was kind of like an iPhone for the 40s. You know, they wanted to keep it in their own little company, so they manufactured the 45s with the large holes. So that's a great answer. I can totally believe that. That sounds like a corporate thing. That sounds like a Coors beer thing, where you make yours a different size so only your trucks can carry your stuff. Totally makes sense. But I still like the ones with the big holes better. That's what I grew up with. So we move on to question number 3, which was all about reaction videos. And would you like to see a reaction video on this channel? And the overwhelming answer to that was no. Which I wasn't sure if I wanted to make one or not. I mean, the whole thing was, I almost wanted to make like a parody of one or something. There's so many awful ones. There's a couple of good channels out there that have reaction videos. And then the other 98% are just these people with the clickbait thumbnail and, as Guz69 said, pretending to have never heard of this band before. You got the expert guitarist that's never heard of Led Zeppelin, and the college students that just sit there and make rock star faces all the way through. People bobbing their heads. I mean, it's just... people crying over not. There's a video, I think, of a guy that cries when he hears the Benny Menozes song, Into the Night. The one where he's got the statutory rape going on with the 15-year-old throughout the whole song. And anybody that doesn't like that relationship just doesn't have a heart. You know, that song starts crying over that. It's not because of the statutory rape. It's because, oh, Benny's voice is so beautiful. It's like, okay. And a million views, so it's not going to stop. And the thing about it is when you try to look up a song, like I'm always watching music performances and pieces of concerts and music videos and stuff from long ago, TV appearances and stuff. And when you look those songs up now, you get like maybe 2 videos, and then the rest is just this deluge of reaction videos. And it's like, I don't want to see reaction videos. I want to see the performer doing the song. And I'm afraid it's just going to grow and grow and grow. And we're going to be just flooded with reaction videos, and they're all just going to be clickbait, basically. With, of course, 2 million views a piece. Moving on, yeah, the big one, Pet Sounds. This was the big question. Why is this considered by Rolling Stone and many others to be the second greatest album ever made? It's a question I've had for a long time. The reason I had the question was because I would listen to this album, I would feel like there's something wrong with me, like I'm missing something. This wasn't just 1 or 2 people's opinion. This was Rolling Stone. This was like, I don't know, Pitchfork and Q Magazine and all these different people, all these different publications, not people, publications, saying that this was the second greatest album ever made, ever. Second greatest. And we went through the whole bands. We went better than anything Black Sabbath ever put out, better than anything the Rolling Stones ever did, better than anything Bob Dylan ever came out with. Sorry, Bob, should have bought a surfboard. But yeah, and so that was really the thing. I felt like I'm missing something. What is it? But I put it on the video, and a lot of people agree, saying that, yeah, this should not be the second greatest album of all time. Pretty subjective, obviously, because it's music. But I think what Rolling Stone, when they put out, you know, hardback books like that, I think the goal is to try to get as definitive as possible. You're never going to get definitive, but to get as close as possible, get a bunch of people together, get a collaboration, and then you come out with that as the second best album of all time, and like literally no one agrees. But a lot of people love it. A lot of people think it's excellent. I think it's okay. But I don't know too many people after reading the comments that say, yeah, absolutely, that should be the second best album of all time. Although I did get 3 thumbs down. So maybe instead of explaining themselves, just, you know, thumbs down and go on. But anyway, Pet Sounds, yeah, people like Randall Nelson. Love it, but not in my top 20. I think that's a lot of people. Love it, not in my top 10. Not the second greatest. Pete's CD Vinyl World says the Beach Boys weren't even a band. Yeah, The Wrecking Crew. Somebody else suggested I watch that movie. I seen that movie a long time ago, but well, when it first came out. But that movie ruined like so many songs. But yeah, that's studio guitarist. That's the guy that used to make guitar-like songs for like Charlie's Angels episodes and stuff. Okay, he's a legendary guitarist. But I mean, yeah, he's playing on all these songs. And like the Monkees were like one of the most legitimate bands out, I guess. Anyway, yeah, The Wrecking Crew, man. If you want some illusions... disillusioned, yeah, watch that movie, The Wrecking Crew. But yeah, Psychedelic Punkster suggested that instead of Pet Sounds, I listen to the Zombies, Odyssey and Oracle, and I certainly would. This is a great album right here. This is a question I have. How come Odyssey and Oracle by the Zombies, later pressings, you got to take this little guy with this little ass, he's got to be airbrushed because that's way too offensive. So he's got to be censored. This is the first pressing with the outrageous uncensored cover. That's got to be censored. But something like this cover from Blind Faith is totally fine. I'm not even going to show you what the bottom half of that looks like. You can look it up, but I prefer this one. But yeah, how come you could have that, but you couldn't have little like painted, anyway. And I like the as long as we're on the subject, this is my favorite Blind Faith album cover. I prefer this one, and I like the Scorpions album cover for Virgin Killer where it's them walking. I like the album covers that you don't get arrested for. But yeah, what how come the little guy's censored and the big girls, that's okay? That would be a question, a future video. Okay, number 5 was about, you know, how long do you have to be in the vinyl community before people stop calling you a newbie? Like I said in the video, it wasn't a real question, so we move on to question 6, which was all about people who put the record with the inner sleeve in the back of the album jacket and then put the thing. A lot of people were saying that was because of ring wear. Nostromo's Picks said it was because of ease. They like to put theirs in the top and then just pull the record right out instead of dealing with pulling the thing out in the inner sleeve and all that. So that's why that's going on. And then finally, it was all about their Satanic Majesty's request from the Rolling Stones. I didn't really give a personal opinion a lot on this. It wasn't the point. I think this album's okay. It's not one of the Rolling Stones. It's not one of my favorite Rolling Stones albums. But my question was more about it generally. This was panned, you know, for years. This was thought of as folly, I think was the word I used. And certainly I would use that word for years. You know, not my opinion, but generally. Mick Jagger called it a piece of shit, you know. And then these days, everybody loves it. A lot of people love it. And the 50th anniversary was huge, and people have that or showing it off in the vinyl community. So basically, it was a question about a phenomenon. Like, when did this piece of shit, again, according to Mick Jagger and the general consensus, go from that to, isn't it wild how it goes from that to something revered? It was basically just, you know, how does that happen? And basically, everybody just said, no, it's a great album. Which proved my point. Either people said, no, this is a great album, or people said, I don't see anybody saying this is a great album. Those were the 2 top comments. I love that. But I do love this though. Oddbox Topper, Vinyl Richie, and a couple other people said what you should do for a listening experience, take off a couple of songs that you don't care for. Most people were like the two longer, you know, Why Don't We Do This All Together, and the other one. Take those off, replace them with the single that was recorded from the same sessions, We Love You and Dandelion, and you'll have a much better listening experience. And I did that, actually, and actually rearranged some of the orders. Man, I had like She's a Rainbow kicking everything off, and then 2,000 Light Years starting off side 2, and In Another Land was like buried on side 2 somewhere. But yeah, put on We Love You, I think. We Love You closed the whole album. That's what it was. And Dandelion closed side 1. So I mixed everything up and made a playlist. Her Majesty's reimagined from the Rolling Stones. So yeah, basically I did not really get an answer for that one, but all the other questions were pretty much answered. So thank you very much to everybody who put in answers or theories or just comments. That's what it was all about. Threw it out there, and you threw it right back and actually answered, especially the 45s and that Queen album, some definitive answers for questions I've had for quite a while. So again, that's what the vinyl community is all about. Everybody exchanging ideas, everybody exchanging answers and questions and opinions and their finds and everything. So great that that's going on, and let's keep it all going on. Once again, I'm Robert Fithen. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, please do that, and I'll keep making videos, and hopefully you'll keep watching them, and hit the like button if you want to. If you don't, please don't hit the unlike button unless you give like a reason. That's kind of random. Anyway, thanks for watching.